47 seconds to get through double Disney logos.
The evening star.
Jesus, Disney, you're not even gonna warn me before you start songing in this movie? Even Beauty and the Beast had a few establishing shots before Belle started the little town bull. Mickey, how's the peeping? Mickey, how's the peeping? Mickey, 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 Mickey.
Moved by his desperate plea, that she stooped down, picked up the slippery creature.
This is much too erotic of a tale to be telling children.
There is no way in this whole wide world I would ever, I mean never, kiss a frog.
Character says she's definitively not going to do something that she'll do at least twice by the end of the movie, cliché.
Pretty?
Look at you.
I know John Goodman's a big dude, but drawing his character this big, relative to the rest of the cast, is rivaling Kingpin from Spider-Verse as the most absurdly large animated man.
Come on, kiss him. No. Kiss him. Stop it.
Females flippant feline flinging far from funny, in fact, feels flagrantly foul.
No more Mr. Pushover. Now, who was the puppy?
Wait, was that puppy seriously in his pocket this whole f***ing time? Was it being suffocated? It hadn't made a sound since Big Daddy walked into the room.
This is the best gumbo I've ever tasted.
We now return you to Ratatouille, already in progress.
You know the thing about good food? It brings folks together from all walks of life.
Okay, I really don't like this movie, but I have to give it credit for portraying a strong African-American woman as the protagonist, even if she eventually does fall in love with the playboy at the end. She has goals and agency and is a fleshed-out character. So take a sin-off, movie, before I think too much about that eventual playboy love. How did he write all that in the half second he put that crayon to work on that paper? Perhaps James should pursue a career in speed writing instead of the food industry. Speed writing's a career, right?
Well, you wish on that star, sweetheart.
Jeez Louise, movie. I know Disney was trying to make a return to traditional animation, but this is a bridge too far. If an actual singing cricket comes into the frame, so help me.
Just promise your daddy one thing, that you'll never, ever lose sight of what's really important.
This dude is so dead. Seriously, I don't think I've seen a character's death telegraphed more clearly, at least since Missandei in Game of Thrones. Also, what is Disney's deal with dead parents, man? Is it on the checklist for every f***ing movie? At this point, the movie's playing the opening song that's more Randy Newman than any Randy Newman song Randy Newman's ever Randy Newman. Let me get this straight. This guy voodooed a ginger pompadour onto his head, then waited until he was wooing a lady to werewolf his ass? Apparently, the magic in New Orleans has a built-in sense of comedic timing. I'm gonna give the movie props for having the copy of the article actually describe the headline about the prince's arrival. But that same exact copy is used in the article about the 50-pound tomato, so instead of props, it gets popped. Also, it apparently takes you just under 3 months to read the thing, since the date on the front is April 25th, 1926, but it's already July 16th on the back. Also, it's 3 full cents cheaper if you buy the back page at 2 cents, as opposed to the front page at 5 cents. Also, how does text in a movie about f***ing New Orleans misspell Bourbon Street? Twice! Still alsoing, Mardi Gras was in February of 1926, so whether you are on the back page time or front page time, this headline makes no sense. This evil voodoo villain is so transparently one-dimensional, I'm half expecting his character to be literally named Jafar.
You got about as much chance of getting that restaurant as I do of winning the Kentucky Derby.
Well, if you challenge the result on a bullshit technicality, you may have a better shot than you think.
Oh, tell it, Big Daddy.
Look, I know this is his character's name, but having Big Daddy's daughter calling him this instead of just Daddy, it's way creepier than I think they realized.
I'm gonna need about 500 of your man-catching beignets.
Either Charlotte goes or I go. I honestly don't know how much more of this character's energy I can stomach. Were those beignets powdered with cocaine?
This should cover it just fine, Lottie. This is it. I'm getting my restaurant.
Tiana grew up with the LaBeoufs, and I'm sure this isn't the only catered event they've thrown. So why didn't she offer her services for what would have been a huge payday until now? I can't really play a lot of it for you, but the music in this musical often forgets how to music. It's bland, basic, and sure to be forgotten the second the last note fades. What's the opposite of an earworm? Whatever that is, it's this. And now we have the change in animation style that we saw in Hercules and Beauty and the Beast, and like all the old Disney animation movies. Just because it's a return to form doesn't mean it has to be a direct derivative, damn it. Man, this story about a princess and a frog and the magical world of interspecies romance has a lot more food porn than I anticipated. Casual arson is casual, and arson.
Get a job.
Luckily, the manure guy was in the middle of his round so that Lawrence could properly portray the hideousness of hard work.
This remarkable gentleman has just read my palm. Or saw this morning's newspaper.
Jesus Christ, they may have been shooting for charmingly unaware for Naveen's character, but they landed on flat out dumb.
You do have a soul, don't you, Lawrence?
Lawrence later turns out to be one of the bad guys, but I'm starting to think it's only because he's unfairly derided by everyone from the very beginning of the movie.
And when I looked into your future, it's the green that I seen.
Man, it feels like this song's been going on for 10 straight minutes, so of course it's sung by the cast member with the worst voice.
I hope you're satisfied.
Actually, no, I'd like a refund on those hallucinogens that I obviously ingested about an hour ago if this is their end result. I'm having a hard enough time figuring out how this guy dressed as an octopus grabs drinks with his 2 actual hands, let alone the 6 other arms he shouldn't be able to control.
Travis, when a woman says later, she really means not ever.
Well, then apparently I'll enjoy this movie later. Sure, it's totally common for a formally invited regal guest to walk straight into a party saying nothing and immediately start macking on the daughter of the host. Nothing suspicious about this at all. Also, the dance isn't that complicated, but Lawrence as Naveen just morphed into this body, and he can execute a perfect waltz at the drop of a fucking hat?
Well, back into the fray.
Nothing says a family film like a little décolletage humor. Wait, isn't this supposed to be a big fancy-ass masquerade? Even if the party's around back, there are no cars out here or noise from the party?
So what now? I reckon you want a kiss?
What? Even though it's only been a few movie minutes since we heard the Frog Prince story, it's been like 20 years for Tiana. And she's thinking about the restaurant, not love. But this is her response to seeing a goddamn frog?
I am Prince Naveen.
Even in an animated movie with magical voodoo, who's-a-whatsits and what's-a-macallitses, Naveen survives this.
I know this story. Di Fragi Brutto.
Well, ain't this convenient. Not only does the frog happen to be a prince, but Tiana is also using the perfect book to try and kill him.
Besides being unbelievably handsome, okay, I also happen to come from a fabulously wealthy family. Surely I could offer you some type of reward, a wish I could grant.
Man, I know this is a silly fairy tale, but this part of the movie comes off extremely icky on many levels. You know, all this bullshit is caused by the sight of 2 small frogs. I know we know that they're important, but the party should not be concerned. This is the f***ing bayou, man. Them shits are everywhere.
Fun fact about voodoo, Larry. Can't conjure a thing for myself.
Fun fact about plot convenient rules, Voodoo Dr. Guy, they can be very distracting and obvious.
Voodoo?
Hoodoo? You do. Do what? Remind me of the babe.
I got dibs on the big one.
Dude, these frogs are small as hell. Is there seriously nothing else in the swamp that the entire alligator population would be looking to eat right now?
Y'all gonna taste so good, basted and battered and fried.
Do alligators cook now? How do they even get the ingredients for a good batter?
Looks like we're going to be here for a while, so we may as well get comfortable.
Man, Naveen is such a goddamn horny toad that even a transformation into a whole new species can't kill his amphiboner.
I told you, it is not slime. It is mucus!
Bruno Campus obviously studied at the French Knights and Monty Python's Holy Grail School of accenting things. How did Tiana fashion this raft all by herself, especially while in frog form? Alligators cannot form the proper embouchure for playing a trumpet. The only exception was Lockjaw Johnson, who learned to cover the sides of his snout with moss to force the air through the mouthpiece. This is all chronicled in the documentary Swamp Brass, How One Gator Beat the Blues. The section titled Alligator Scales is my favorite. Okay, I know that a gator jumping on board a party boat would be cause for concern, but those concerns would be immediately allayed by the fact that it not only plays trumpet, he's shredding on that f***ing thing.
Mama Odie, she the voodoo queen of the bayou.
We're gonna have to go meet her, aren't we? Why do I get the feeling that this movie is just trying to lily pad its runtime with a side quest?
If I...
Skippity-doo-dah, skippity-yay.
When I'm myself again.
This is a perfectly nice Zydeco song and all, but it's exactly the Human Again song from Beauty and the Beast. They seriously couldn't come up with something more original than a replica from a previous traditionally animated Disney movie?
Life is short, when you're done, you're done. We're on this earth to have some fun.
Hedonism! Hey, that's an actual sin. And oh yeah, it's also a pervy resort in Jamaica that I definitely didn't go to with my college girlfriend.
Miss Charlotte, I can no longer ignore the throbbing of my...
We got boner jokes, y'all. Or ass jokes? I don't know. There's supposed to be some humor here, but God help me if I can actually find it.
Always wanted to try red beans and rice, move for lettuce, poor boys.
God damn it, movie, stop making me want to go to New Orleans and eat Cajun food. The last time I was there, I took a shot of some firewater that a stranger offered me in the men's restroom of the Hustler Club on Bourbon Street, and surprisingly, the night didn't end well. Also, how does Lewis know about all this cuisine? I know he has some human characteristics, but his ass does live in a swamp.
There is no way I am kissing a frog and eating a bug on the same day.
Well, good news. You kissed a frog yesterday, so you should be good to go on the bug eating today. Deep Croak. Discount Lady and the Tramp. Damn, is there any Disney property this movie won't rip off?
Well, look at here.
Oh, come on, Ray. There was barely enough time to jerk off, and I was almost there.
I just got my big butt glowing, that's right.
Oh, bother. They just had to go and drag Jim Cummings into this, didn't they?
I'm just gonna give a little twist.
Is he inside them? I mean, he obviously didn't go in through their mouths, which means he's either a magician or sex offender. Seconds ago, they were so hungry they couldn't keep their tongues from shooting at silent bugs, but now they can just have a conversation with one? At what level do these assholes reach sentience?
First rule to bayou, never take direction from a gator.
Oh, man, that's totally racist.
Ready when you are, Cousin Ray.
All right.
We must never forget, Ray is playing this music with an infant as his accordion for this entire song.
So, we got ourselves a deal.
The thing about Facilier's relationship to the underworld is that we never understand how or why it works. What are the limits of their powers? If they can deliver favors as an attempt to get him to run the town, why didn't they just do that from the start?
Now we're cooking. We gonna find ourselves a frog.
I don't care if these motherfuckers are from a zombie dimension or whatever the the prince is a fucking frog, man. There's no locating him in the middle of a huge-ass bayou.
Bye-bye, Pookie.
Why didn't the Fireflies take them all the way to Mama Odie, though? They came all this way, but peace out when they actually get on land?
I can taste them frog legs already.
But they taste real good with the sauce piquant, right, Pop?
More periphery characters? Every time I think this movie is done introducing new pointless roles, it lobs another one in. Just in the last 10 minutes, we've picked up a trumpet-playing alligator, a Firefly festival led by a vaguely racist Cajun stereotype, and now these Three Stooges wannabe frog poachers. And that's before we even meet whoever this Mama Odie character is. This is turning out to be more of a loosely connected series of lame Looney Tunes sketches instead of, an actual movie.
I will make him pay for his insolence!
I don't want to see these assholes eat Tiana and Naveen, but I'm also loath to acknowledge the existence of this all Southerners, especially Bayou folk, are dumb for hunting for edible sustenance cliche. It's good to see Disney getting in on the genital trauma humor. They'd let DreamWorks own that corner for far too long. Keep it classy, Mickey.
Some Bananas Foster.
Bananas Foster was invented in the early 1950s, so unless this is also a time-traveling alligator, he should have no awareness of that dessert in 1926.
How about some swamp gumbo?
They have an actual destination to get to, right? I know we're going to have a nice cooking sequence and all, but it sure does seem like Tiana's taking this whole I was magically turned into a frog a few hours ago and my life is forever changed and I've got very little time to reverse it way too well.
What was that? That was below the frog belt.
Below the frog belt? Really? You just add frog to a saying and that's supposed to make it funny? Plus, it doesn't even make sense. Not only do frogs not wear belts, they have internal reproductive organs, so a kick to the cloaca wouldn't hurt any more than anywhere else. This motherfucker finds these balloons in the middle of the fucking swamp and suddenly turns into Sherlock freaking Holmes. Facilier didn't even tell them about the balloons. In this scene, a firefly is singing a love song to a star as an excuse to watch two characters we don't even want to end up together fall in love. It's exactly as frustrating and infuriating as it sounds.
Look how she lights up the sky.
Man, Tiana actively hated this butthole like a few minutes ago, and rightfully so. He's since said a couple of nice things about her cooking and forced her to dance with him, and now she's smitten. This character? This whole storyline, man. He should be ghosted as hell right now. Deus ex Mama Odica.
Not bad for a 197-year-old blind lady.
Yeah, and especially one that had no clue that a bunch of animals that were actually human were being chased by a bunch of evil shadows. I know voodoo is magic, but it has limits. Dude, if that bathtub is holding this piping hot gumbo, these motherfuckers are toast for standing on that rim.
Y'all want to be human, but you're blind to what you need.
Damn, does every character in this movie have the need to lecture the other characters via song? Oh, sure, now he's falling in love with her. You know, these fucking characters met each other about 24 hours ago, right? As Keanu Reeves said, relationships based on intense experiences never work, and Keanu Reeves is basically Buddha now.
Big Daddy's king of the Mardi Gras parade. So that makes Lottie a princess.
I see voodoo, or whatever secret magic Mama's using here, is heavily based on semantics. Damn, if there were this many beads left over, imagine what this boat's had to do for the last 24 hours.
I can no longer marry Miss Charlotte LaBeouf.
I swear every time he says her name, I think of Shia LaBeouf, which makes me think of both the Transformer movies and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and that's definitely a sin.
Oh, I just wanted to show you a little something to celebrate our last night together as frogs.
These guys have to get to Mardi Gras by midnight, right? So is a slow-moving boat and a lot of side distractions really the best way to get get that done.
There it is.
Your restaurant?
Oh, can't you just picture it? All lit up like the 4th of July.
Yeah, but when Tiana was last human, she was epically despondent about being outbid for the property. And yeah, Devine promised to help her, but since then, she's discovered he doesn't have any money. And the only way he would is if he married Lottie, which is probable, but also presumptuous. So even if they get turned back to humans, Tiana's probably back to square one. And now I wish I could get a Disney movie that ended on such a dour note. That seemed to happen all the time back in the 80s. Did the shadows seriously just apparate into the house here? Come on, Disney. Some shit's gotta be proprietary of Warner Brothers.
We are gathered here tonight.
Sure, Lottie's all horned up for Naveen and all, but this marriage is quick, like within 24 hours. And why would they be conducting this ceremony in the middle of f***ing Mardi Gras when no one is able to hear this shit? Yes, this tiny frog is able to yank this grown-ass man from this float because movie. So Firefly Light can dispose of the shadow demons now? Is that canon? Just trying to make sure I understand all the rules for the Princess and the Frog live-action expanded universe and theme park land, sure to come eventually. Come on, movie. If you're gonna have the balls to show Facilier's Step on Ray, go all the way right away. How about I just go and eat some beignets? I could make things out of clay and lay by the bay. I just may. What do you say?
Think of everything you've sacrificed.
I told y'all she wouldn't come.
Can we define the powers of these voodoo people in this movie? Now Facilier is not only able to turn Tiana back into a human, he's able to make her hallucinate a restaurant and read her mind? If he's this powerful, why hasn't he just done this to Big Daddy and or Lottie themselves before now?
You're almost there.
Now this asshole is naming song titles from when he wasn't in the scene. This movie is more nebulous about powers than a f***ing MCU offering.
I got news for you, Shadow Man. It's not slime. It's mucus.
When film experts meet to talk about the great one-liners in movie history, weighing them on their pith, meaning, and value, it's safe to say it's not slime, it's mucus will never come up. I feel like the nightmare fuel this movie generates doesn't get talked about enough. So that's it? Just one setback and the shadows go all drag me to hell on his ass? Do they have a better shot at taking the city than a shadow man who is willing to work with them and now owes them a debt? The forces of darkness need a lesson in power dynamics.
I am the real Prince Naveen.
Damn it, he survives this again.
My dream wouldn't be complete without you in it.
This movie purports to subvert the typical girl pines for a prince and sacrifices her own agency in the process, but it totally falls back into that trap to engineer a love story in the end, because Disney just can't help itself.
Maybe that old clock's a little fast.
So if this didn't work to turn them human, because she's no longer a princess after midnight, shouldn't she also turn into a frog like Tiana did? Isn't that the rule? Isn't that how this whole mess started to begin with? What are the freaking frogging rules here?
He's hurting awful bad.
First off, how the did Lewis find Ray? Second off, how the is Ray still alive? No humans are around in the busy French Quarter during Mardi Gras to witness this giant alligator and 2 frogs mourn the death of a firefly. Wait, what? Tiana presumably had the same amount of money she had pre-Frogger, but now that she has a sentient alligator as a friend, she can get the restaurant? She was outbid, man! What happened to the other person? These are guerrilla tactics! Movie tragically ends on Big Daddy getting wasted on beignets.
Buck melanoma. Molly Russell's wart.
It's the green, it's the green, it's the green you need.
Green like what?
Oh, a super green.
Crystal. Any kind of green, like any. Not bad for a 197-year-old blind lady.
When 900 years old you reach, look as good you will not.
So long, boys! I'll send you a postcard from Paradise Falls.
When you're next in line for the throne, you're poised like a panther.
It's called Sex Panther by Odeon. It's illegal in 9 countries.
Get it down! Get it down!
We have a paper down. I repeat, a paper is down.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here tonight.
Marriage. Marriage is what brings us together.